It's Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder. Now, 92 KQRS.
Friday edition of Gorman in the Morning. It is May the 9th. What is happening in the world, Paul Fletcher? I'm feeling Minnesota. I need to know the headlines.
Quick reminder, tickets go on sale today for the pre-Broadway musical Purple Rain. It's set to debut in Minneapolis before heading to Broadway. Yes, it's going to Broadway, but it's debuting here first, and today is the day. Tickets go on sale 10 a.m. Wanted to throw that reminder out there because I'm guessing it's going to be an insanely tough ticket to get.
I would imagine so.
The white smoke flew yesterday.
It did.
Yesterday afternoon, the first ever American Pope was selected. Chicago native Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost was elected on only the second day of the conclave. The guy who's been going by Bob until yesterday is now Pope Leo XIV. He called for a, quote, missionary church, always open to receive all who need our charity.
Too much?
I like it. I'm seeing Bob wearing the number 23 jersey coming out right now. That's fantastic. Man.
I was trying to keep it together, but I couldn't. He called for a, quote, missionary church, always open to receive all who need our charity, our presence, dialogue, and love. He's also a well-documented sports fan, apparently. Although he's a White Sox fan, which is sad.
Well, he's a real Chicagoan then. He didn't move in from elsewhere. South Side guy. Got to like that. Got to respect the grind of a White Sox fan. I will say this. Anybody that's my age and Catholic would say the same thing. If this had happened when I was a kid, like my dad would have been like, that. You can't have an American Pope. That makes no sense. Oh, yeah. It would have been like totally like, what the hell is this all about? I think there was a thought that like, no, we haven't been around long enough. Got to give it to those Italians. I mean, it was. I remember when the last guy went in from Argentina. I thought, oh, my dad would have just had a field day. An Argentinian, what the hell do they know about being Pope? But hey, things change.
That's right.
I was just picturing. I was thinking, man, when I was in high school, like when John Paul and then John Paul II showed up a month later, we had a couple in a row. I remember those days very clearly, and just the idea of an American Pope would have been like saying. That's like saying, oh, we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. It seemed impossible. So It took a while, but hey, man, way to go, Bob.
There were some great memes yesterday, too, about this one. I think my favorite, I thought I would point out my favorite, God bless everyone in the world except Green Bay.
Yeah, there you go.
Because he's a Chicagoan.
Yeah, fantastic.
I think we can always get behind that sentiment. Hey, Virginia Tech and Metallica are closely linked thanks to a tradition of Hokie fans jumping up and down, singing along to Enter Sandman at Lane Stadium. That goes back 25 years now to the 2000 season. Well, Metallica actually played Lane Stadium for the first time ever 2 nights ago, Wednesday night. And it got downright seismic when they launched into Sandman. They saved it for last, of course, and the people went nuts. Their reaction, in fact, to the song live reached the equivalent of a 1.5 magnitude earthquake at the stadium.
Nice.
Now, that is some jumping up and down right there.
That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, according to Forbes, 56% of Americans share their streaming passwords. Netflix has already cracked down, but now Warner Brothers' streaming boss says Max is next. Their password sharing initiative will start getting, quote, firmer and more visible to subscribers over the months to come. So just a heads up, you should prepare for that. Like when Netflix implemented it, my sister-in-law had to go bye-bye because it was, I don't even remember what the notification was on the screen, but it was like, you know what? You got to go. Sorry. Gave
my daughter the Max password yesterday.
Oh,
she
no.
texted, coming in from Virginia, hey, what's that Max password? I guess we'll have to break open the accounts and see what we're actually paying for.
Well, in the future, if you want to keep her, you'll be able to, Max says. It'll be like $7.99 a month, though, to have an add-on, as they call it.
I can keep my daughter? That's awesome, man.
Well,
I had no idea Max had that much sway.
I think they're okay with you keeping her. But
as
a streaming daughter, she'll cost you $8 a month.
In the world of sports, let's go in order of how it went down yesterday. Okay. The Minnesota Twins, can you say 5 in a row with yesterday's 5-2 win over the Baltimore Orioles? A game that my wife and I took in from the third base side. What a day at the ballpark. My gosh, it couldn't have been better.
What did you capture?
I captured a guy named Brooks Lee stepping up in the 8th inning and doing this.
Swinging a fly ball, left center field, in the gap. Mullins on the move. Mullins will turn. That's in play and off the base of the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Buxton heading home. Henderson, no chance. Brooks Lee puts the Twins on top. An 8th inning, 2 out, 2-run double.
As you heard it, an eighth inning, 2-out, 2-run double. That was the game winner. The play of the game to me, Byron Buxton threw out Emmanuel Rivera in the sixth. He was trying to score from second, and I felt great because watching Rivera lumber, as they say, around the bases, as he crossed third and turned in, I thought to myself, I could actually outrun a Major League Baseball player. It was the... Man, poor dude. I mean, I'm sure he's a wonderful guy, but seriously, Emmanuel, get on the treadmill, bud. And by the way, Joe Ryan will be back. He's been sick all week with what he said was the worst stomach bug he's ever had. But apparently he's past it now. Not sure what caused the illness, although I do have to. It bears mentioning, no one has seen last year's summer sausage in a while. You could have found that thing in the dugout and just had a snap.
I hope not. Maybe that's why they've been doing so good.
That summer, the rally sausage, that last year's summer sausage, that was the most disgusting piece of meat I've ever seen. Last night at the Target Center, the Timberwolves scored the first 13 points of the game, and we could all rest easy. For some of us, I still made it to halftime because I just had to see it. A great win to turn the series back around a little bit, although. You know, when you lose a game at home in a series, you're still up against. You're behind the. What am I trying to say? You're under the gun. You're behind the 8 ball. You're up against the wall. Yeah, all of those apply. You've
given away home court as well.
Steph Curry. That's what I could have just said. That's what I'm getting at. Steph Curry is still going to be out at least 2 more games. The Wolves have a great chance to go to San Francisco and put the series away pretty much with the next 2 wins. If you watched the game last night, you know that. Very few teams in the history of the NBA have looked as discombobulated as Golden State without Steph Curry. I mean, the man is as valuable to his team as anybody's ever been to a team. There's the Warriors with Steph, and then there's the Warriors without Steph. And my gosh, is it just an ugly thing to watch?
I've seen reports that he might be out the entire series. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's a hamstring. Yeah. I mean, it's like because if you have a strained hamstring, the easiest thing to do is come back too early and then tear it.
100%. That's it. You know, it's funny. That goes across every sport. You know what I mean? Like it's it's such an unpredictable injury.
Tomorrow night, a guy named Lionel Messi is going to be playing soccer in St. Paul. He's kind of good.
He's so good that I've even heard of him.
That's the point I was going to make. Ryder, you know who this man is, don't you? They list him at 5'7", and that's a stretch. Messi is, in a game that more people play, in a team sport that more people play than any other in the history of civilization, he is, at worst, the 3rd greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
In many people's estimations. If you talk about all of the greatest players, when it's all said and done, the guy who will be in St. Paul tomorrow night for playing with Miami against the Loons he is Michael Jordan. He is Tom Brady. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, 100%. He's who is it? It's Ronaldo.
You have Pele. You have Pele,
Ronaldo, and then Messi, right?
You have Pele. You have a little other Argentinian named Diego Maradona.
Oh, okay.
Is he considered above Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not one but 2.
You have to look at me like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, not according to Ronaldo.
Well, that's fair.
I will take Messi over Ronaldo 7 days out of 6 myself.
That's a lot.
Yeah. It's special. Anyway, all I'm saying is, even if you don't care about soccer, just find the game, watch it. Just be able to say, I was watching arguably the greatest ever do it, as he was still somehow at 37 playing at this level. It's worth doing. If you're a sports fan, you know, it doesn't matter what the sport is. You like to see greatness.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? I mean, you say at 37 still doing it at this level.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take too much away from American soccer, but when you go from Barcelona to Miami, it's like going down an entire league or 2, really.
Well, sure it is, but but unstoppable is unstoppable.
That's fair.
The man turned down $1 billion to go play in Saudi Arabia to come here. Let him do what he wants to do.
Nice.
Wow.
Hey, speaking of greatness, how about Cokato?
Oh yeah.
Come on, Cokato, Minnesota.
You know, they were once a dry town. It's true. I mean, they prohibited the sale of alcohol once upon a time in Cokato.
And then my dad moved in.
Did he?
You're talking to a guy who grew up in Kentucky, a state with 120 counties, 99 of which were dry when we moved there.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Holy smokes.
But not the one we moved to.
Oh, that's good.
How about this? A video has gone viral. It's a guy in New Jersey, a dad with a young son, and he's getting back into his car after stopping by the coffee shop. And he's explaining to his son, it's what you would call a life hack. How to get 2 cups of coffee for the price of 1. Now, this is iced coffee, and really, it's just for anybody who wishes The Sopranos were still on air. It's just you know what? It's a little back scratch to all the Sopranos fans out there because this is an actual real person. The long version, he says, you order 1 large coffee, no ice. And then you ask for 2 cups of ice. And so you see this guy, he's got 2 large cups of ice and then 1 large coffee without ice. And then he just distributes the coffee over the 2 cups of ice. Because they're packed with ice, you basically get 2. It looks like you have 2 coffees now.
Right.
I'm just worried if I don't do this hack, I'm going to like sleep with the fishes or something like that. This dude he's just like spot on.
I'm looking at
Mafia.
Sorry, I didn't. And I'm looking at the video.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't have the hair. He doesn't have the eyebrows. He doesn't have a pinky ring. Nothing. It's but he looks like he's quintessential made guy.
Listen, man. Ever since The Sopranos, they have to they keep it close to the vest. You know, there's no flash in the Jersey Mob anymore.
Under Armour golf shirt, man.
Split the coffees. Take the cannoli.
Always remember this, ho.
Your mother's happy, I'm happy.
Mother's happy, I'm happy.
That's
See you
it,
for the
man.
weekend.
He's a made guy.
I have a very clear memory of my dad, who didn't talk like that at all. My dad always spoke as if he were addressing a group of Marines. We were at a Denny's when I was a kid, and he said, always order. He said if you get a scrambled egg, he would just get like a scrambled egg, bacon, and toast. You know, that was it. And he said, always order 1 scrambled egg. And I said, okay, why? He goes, well, if you order 2, he said, because they already have the eggs beat. It's already beaten back in there. You know, it's already liquefied to put on the grill. And he goes, if you order 2 eggs, they just do a scoop of what they think is 2 eggs. If you order 1, it's such a small amount, they'll always add like an extra half just to make it look better. And I remember I was probably 9, and I'm looking at him going, this is the kind of stuff you think about in a day? Order 1 so you get 1.5 for the price of 1. If you order 2, you might also get 1.5, but for the price of 2. And I was like, and this is at a time when we're talking about the difference between 25 and 35 cents. And I was like, huh.
At the same time, though, you were 9 and you still remember that.
Of course.
That's life lessons right there, baby.
You always remember the times when you realize my dad's weird as hell. Those things are hard to shake off.
Oh. That's great. I wonder if that coffee shop he was at has a side of gabagool.
I would imagine they do. Hey, so the NBA, the National Basketball Association, of which I consider myself a fan, has not been aired on NBC since 2003.
Wow.
I mean, that's when they lost their rights. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But in the 80s and 90s, the NBA was all about NBC and their coverage of the game. And they had a guy named Jim Fagan was like the announcer for he did all the promos for NBC.
Okay.
Now, of course, after 2003, you didn't hear his voice anymore.
Yeah.
And he passed away in 2017.
Oh.
Well, the NBA is going back to NBC next season.
Okay.
The regular season tips off this fall. Back on NBC, and so NBC decided, you know what, we want to stir up a little bit of nostalgia for those glory days of the 90s with Jim Fagan, and he's dead. So let's get really creepy. Let's just go ahead and admit that everybody can now live forever, at least digitally. They have got new promos where they have an AI version recreation of Jim Fagan's voice. They went right to the Black Mirror well and said, how do we keep this guy around forever? NBC Sports is like, hey, listen, for basketball fans, this unique and recognizable voice, it conjures a deep sense of nostalgia, blah, 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 blah. And his family's, of course, signed off on it. They think it's great.
Are they getting some money?
I would imagine they're getting some money for sure.
Yeah, I would hope so.
I see things like this, and it always just makes me go, we're one step closer to humanity being wiped out. So anyway, in case if you've forgotten what Jim Fagan sounds like, well, let's start with this. Here's the new improved AI version. This is Jim Fagan 2025.
The NBA on NBC is back.
Now, if I just heard that without the accompanying story, I'd be like, oh man, I haven't heard that guy's voice in a long time. And then I would go like, whatever happened to him? And then I'd go, oh, he's been dead for 8 years.
Right.
It sounds like a pretty good read to me.
He's got that great sportscaster thing where he doesn't add syllables, he adds nths of syllables. The NBA is back. It's not a back, but a back. It's just a little bit of an emphasis where he's just stretching words just enough to make you know it's time to get excited.
I will say, like, listening to the old one to the new one, you can hear like the natural because I think our voices all get, they get deeper as we age, right?
Sure.
You kind of hear that natural progression from his voice, but it is missing a little bit of his flair.
It's just a weird thing to me.
It is.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Black Mirror, and I was when it first hit the airwaves, like in 2012. The original 6 episodes of Black Mirror, there was an episode called Be Right Back. And it's back then, Black Mirror, the whole point of the show, it said this is the near future if we don't control our technology.
Right.
That's what they build it as. And you'd watch the first few episodes and think, this is not come. There's no way they could ever get to this place. But it really has. A lot of it's happened. AI is the future. But there's an episode, it's one of the heaviest ones ever, called Be Right Back, and it's a woman loses her fiance, and then she's told, well, there's a service you can go to that'll recreate, like you can upload all of his texts he ever sent you, and then an AI version of him will text you in his voice, and it's like you're still in touch with him. And then that leads to he can leave you voicemails, and then it leads to, oh, by the way, we'll just send basically a robot that looks and acts exactly like your dead fiance, and you can live with him forever.
No.
It's an incredible episode. And it stars that actress who's in all the Marvel movies named Haley somebody who's great. I don't know. I remember one day looking out like, whatever happened to that girl from Black Mirror? And then it turns out she's a giant movie star, but I had no idea because I don't watch movies about people in capes. And so, but it's this really heavy concept of no one really ever has to die. We can just keep them around forever. And that's the ultimate. I mean, when we decide that death no longer exists, that's the end of life.
But since we've had recordings, hasn't that been true? We're about to play Nirvana, and Cobain's been dead for like 30 years now.
But it's a recording that he
From
recorded. A live person put that recording on tape. If you play me Kurt Cobain and AI creates a new Nirvana song, that's very different.
Very different.
That sends a chill up my spine.
You know what? I'm even going to go so far as to say that this whole Jim Fagan thing is kind of, it's wrong because NBC has created this. Mm-hmm. They're bringing attention to it.
Yeah. Because
if they would have just released these promos, nobody would have had any idea that it was him. It's just not that big of a deal.
I think some people would have picked it out for sure.
I don't know. I think that it's just they're bringing attention to it so that you know it's Jim Fagan. Otherwise, we'd kind of just like it'd be a non-story.
Oh, I would absolutely know that voice. I'd be like, hey, I might not know his name, but I'd be, I guarantee you, I'd be like, oh, that's that guy. I haven't heard, like I said, I haven't heard his voice in a long time, and I would then go try to figure out why that is.
Okay, well, that might be a small percentage of people that actually remember that voice. I think that they're manufacturing all this story, essentially, this hype.
The voice that guided us through 6 Bulls championships. A lot of people know that voice.
Mm. No, I remember his voice. I'm just saying, listening to the promo, I'm like, it's just like whatever. And again, I think they're creating this to build hype around them having because the promo couldn't do it by itself. That's my belief.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, granted, he's not as iconic as, say, Al Michaels or Howard Cosell.
Sure.
But that is a big voice. 92KQRS.com. You can vote for the KQ's bestest. Many categories. We encourage you to vote early and often.
And you don't have to do every category if you're like tight on time and just want to vote for like your 3 ones that you're super fired up about. Go for that too.
Let's talk about the bestest Bloody Mary.
Okay.
I still am so charmed by the whole idea that you order a Bloody Mary and they give you that little mini beer on the side. That's a Minnesota thing.
Snit?
When I got here, I'd never seen that. I had no idea what was happening. First month in town, go to a game at the X, a Sunday early puck drop, and we went into a bar across the street and ordered Bloodies, and they brought that little, what's it called, a snit?
I went, chaser, yeah.
Yeah, and I looked at it and I was like, what the hell's that? And everyone looked at me like I was from Mars. Like, wow, that's awesome.
And that's cool.
It's kind of the best part to me.
Used to it here, yeah.
Oh, I know. No, it's a complete thing that, like, somehow I'd missed, I guess I'd never had a Bloody Mary in Minneapolis before.
And sometimes they'll give you a full beer chaser.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites.
Those are even better. Bestest Bloody Mary. One jump to mind for you, Ryder?
Well, we need to shout out the Uptown Bar, RIP. They closed in 2005 and became an Apple store, and I'm still not over it.
You aren't.
They had, that's why I'm an Android person.
That's
they
right.
had the best Bloody Mary in town by a lot. But, dude, I got to say, we were up north, and it was early Vikings kickoff. It was the London game.
Uh-huh.
Bloody's at the VFW in Brainerd. chef's kiss.
Really?
Wow.
So freaking spectacular. It is worth the 2.5-hour drive, especially if there's a early game.
Wow. And that's
Very
one
good.
of the 5 you can vote for. You got one? Are you a Bloody Mary guy?
You know what? I don't drink. I don't like them. I like tomatoes in very select ways, and tomato juice and beer is one that just doesn't work for me. However, I'm a huge fan of Bunnies.
Okay.
Bunnies is just an outstanding place to go have a beverage, play pull tabs, watch sports, whatever.
Got it.
And the Old Piper Inn. I have a friend that worked there for a long, long time. I've had lots of good times at the Old Piper Inn. And so I have to believe that both of their Bloodies are quite good based on everything else they have.
Old Piper is your 2024 KQ's best
is it
winner.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're going for the back-to-back.
So the
Yeah.
5 you can vote for this year: Old Piper Inn, as we said, Bunny's Bar and Grill, Brainerd VFW, the Trail Stop Tavern in Eagan, and Bennett's Chop and Rail House St. Paul. Go ahead and vote. Go ahead and vote a whole lot. And if you really, really want to, make me happy, swing by with a Bloody right now, because God, like, just that's all it takes is a quick chat, and suddenly my taste buds are on fire.
Mm-hmm.
The coffee ain't doing it anymore.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. I sweat, I stress, I worry about coming up with a great band name, and then I go, Arctic Monkeys? What? Why do I care? Just say anything. All right, it is Friday morning. That's the good news. The better news is I have a curiosity that Paul is about to sate, if you will. What's going on in the world, sir?
The Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management has announced the date for the first lottery to decide who will get cannabis business licenses from the state. Yes, indeed. The license lottery will be June 5th for cannabis cultivators, manufacturers, and mezzo businesses, which are essentially all-in-one operations that can grow and buy and make and sell cannabis and products. Also, this is exciting. The Office of Cannabis Management said the June 5th license lottery will be live streamed and available for the public to watch.
Wow. Did you get a license? I forgot, man.
Bro, I was busy eating Cheetos. Okay. The U.S. and U.K. announced a framework for a trade deal yesterday, the largest step toward a potential trade agreement since President Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on U.S. trading partners. The deal, pending finalization, focuses on tariff relief for autos, steel, and select industrial goods. The U.S. is the U.K.'s largest trading partner, accounting for over 17% of annual U.K. trade, with the total trade being between the two nations valued at roughly $417 billion.
That's a lot.
It's a ton.
As long as there's no tax on tea. We should be good to go, right?
You know the greatest the greatest freak out thing of all time is if you count to 1 million, it takes it takes like if you count 1 second per number to 1 million, it takes like 9 days. Okay. And if you count to 1 billion, it takes 33 years. Did you know that?
Holy smokes!
That's real.
I didn't know that. No,
that's
I
real.
Didn't know that.
It's pretty close to that.
Yeah.
That's how big a billion is. And when you say 417 billion, I just immediately go. Pew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it
too
just
much.
shuts down your brain.
That's right.
Alice in Chains were forced to cancel their show last night at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. An announcement from the band said, quote, "After our sound check this evening, Sean Kinney experienced a non-life-threatening medical emergency. We unfortunately have to cancel tonight's show. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Refunds are available at the point of purchase." The biggest bummer of this, I mean, besides him, having non-life-threatening medical emergency, is the notice came as fans were arriving at the arena. So the timing really kind of sucked too. I have a quick question for you on this. Is this something that, are there bands out there that look for excuses to cancel shows?
Sure.
And so it's like, I'm not suggesting that in this case.
Yeah.
Others, it'll be, because this sounds like they languished over it. And I mean, if it was at the time when they were, fans were arriving, it was kind of like, can we not? Nope, we can't. It seems like they languished over it.
Oh, yeah, no, you go back and forth a good bit. I mean, to the first question, there's people who are always looking for a snow day. But for the most part, you have to take in a whole lot more than, it's like, are you sure? How do you feel? And then it turns into, what do we do if we turn away 4,000 people who are already here? There's a lot of that kind of stuff. And then how do you possibly reschedule? You got a lot of plans and, I mean, most people do everything they can to not cancel. cancel.
Yeah, I would imagine that's probably like in that line of business, it's probably the ultimate fire drill.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's what I got.
92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning with Fletcher and Ryder on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. The Police with Roxanne right there. Drummer of the Police, Stuart Copeland. And, of course, Andy Summers and Sting, the members of the Police. That was their first single. That's the song that put them on the international map. The hero of the day, though, was Stuart Copeland, the drummer of the band's brother. Really? Miles Copeland.
Why?
Oh.
Because Miles Copeland, Stuart's older brother, had started a little record company called IRS Records. And he said, hey, little brother, your band's kind of cool. I'll give you some money to go make a record, and then I'll sign you and put it out. And he went by the studio to hear what the band was working on, and they played him like 10 or 11 songs, and he was like, huh.
Kind of good.
And then the engineer said, well, there's this one other one, and it's called Roxanne. And the band said, no, that song sucks. We don't want to play it for him.
Sure.
The band didn't think it made sense. Miles Copeland, again, the drummer Stuart's older brother, heard Roxanne once, and he said, that's a hit. Yeah. You guys are crazy. And I'm not going to give you a record deal. And they said, why? He said, because I don't have the infrastructure. You need a real major label. And Miles Copeland walked his ass down to A&M Records, a much bigger label, and said, you have to sign my brother's band. They have a hit. And A&M did, and the rest was history.
Wow.
That's good big brothering.
That's some forward thinking, because
Really
I'm sure
good
he's
big
looking
brothering.
for some bonuses later on.
Yeah, I'm sure he got his back scratched.
Yeah.
But that's good stuff right there. Hey, you know what? This is way better than I can handle, so I'm going to take you to a bigger label. That's just good stuff.
IRS did all right, though. A little band called REM.
They did okay.
Yeah.
They did okay. The English Beat.
Too.
They had a lot of
Black
good
Sabbath,
bands.
Berlin.
I have 5 older brothers, and when my band made our first record, none of them would even listen to it because they were terrified it was going to suck. I had to beg them at a family get together at the beach, and please, can I play this? We'll listen to it later. Literally, and they weren't happy when they finally heard it. They were just relieved.
Okay.
Oh God, you guys are an actual band. Okay, fair enough. That's funny.
Actual band?
They had a hard time believing it might actually be real. They were seriously. It was just such relief that it didn't sound awful.
Well, there's no way that the kid that they grew up punching in the arm repeatedly. There's no way he could amount to something.
I would have been thrilled if it had just been punching in the arm. That would have been fantastic. Hey, so the Sex Pistols are coming to the Fillmore in October. There's another gig, ZZ Top and the Wallflowers, playing next month at the Ledge. Hey, we're going to give away some tickets right now. Winner's choice. You can go see the Sex Pistols, or you can go see the Wallflowers and ZZ Top next month. We've got a few people lined up ready to play a game we call Double or Nothing. I'll explain it very quickly.
Okay.
We send Ryder against her will into a bar.
Oh, boy, that's tough.
Twist my arm.
And she asks bar patrons, barflies I like to call them, 5 questions.
Okay.
And then we take the audio of their answers and we compare it to a person on the phone, a listener right now. Ask the same 5 questions. If they match 2 of the 5, they win tickets.
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing,
Love
baby.
this.
Let's get to it. First up, Deb from Inver Grove Heights. Deb, good morning.
Good morning.
Deb, are you ready to play a little double or nothing?
I am ready.
Let's go.
All right, I'm going to ask you 5 questions. Give us your answers, and we'll see how you do. Number 1, name a TV mom famous for having a lot of kids.
Carol Brady.
There you go. All right. Number 2, what's something most dog owners do with their pets that cat owners don't?
Walk them.
I got to feel good about this one. All right, number 3, name a weekend you don't want to go up north because it's going to be too crowded.
4th of July.
Bang. How about this? Finish this phrase. Rise and blank.
What is it again?
Rise, R-I-S-E. Rise and blank.
Shine.
There you go. Man, I feel pretty good about Deb's chances here.
You haven't met the barfly.
I was going to say, of course, I don't know what time of night you asked this barfly their questions. All right, last one, Deb. What's a popular month for a family vacation?
I'll say July.
All right.
Okay.
Very
here we
good.
go.
All right, here we go. Who are we talking to here,
So I
Ryder?
went to halftime rec last night and hung out with Liz, and I got to give a shout out to Liz and her husband Lyle. It's their 10th anniversary today.
Nice.
So congratulations
Liz and Lyle.
to them. Here are Liz's answers. Name a TV mom famous for having lots of kids.
Marge Simpson.
What's something most dog owners do that cat owners don't?
Have a funny voice with them.
Oh.
or kiss their face, I guess. That's what they all do. I don't know.
Name a weekend you don't want to go up north because it's too crowded.
Memorial Day.
Finish this phrase, rise and
Shine.
What's a popular month for a family vacation?
July.
Right under the wire there.
Yes, Deb.
Man, Liz was making us work for that one.
Sweating it out is what it was. That was a sweat right there.
Deb, you did it. You matched 2 for 5. You are not going home with nothing. You doubled up. So the question is, let me ask you, do you want Sex Pistols tickets or do you want Wallflowers ZZ Top tickets?
Wallflowers ZZ Top.
Right on.
Nice
All right,
work,
Deb. Well done.
Hang tight.
Sit
I'm
tight.
70 years old.
All right.
Okay.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Hang on, Deb.
All right, hang on,
Enjoy the
Deb.
rock.
You guys want to go for one more?
Let's go for one more.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
awesome.
As long as we're here. We got Dave from Hastings on the horn. Dave, good morning.
Morning.
You know what we're doing here, right? You understand the concept of double or nothing?
Yes.
All right, sir, let's get right to it. Here are your 5 questions. Number 1, the new Pope is from Chicago. Name the Chicago sports team that most needs his prayers.
Oof. The Bulls.
The Bulls. Number 2, what's a common color for a Jell-O shot?
Red.
Red. Number 3, name a type of fish often used to make a sandwich.
Cod.
Number 4, what is something moms want for Mother's Day that is free?
Flowers.
If you know where to pick them. Number 5, who's the cooler Jack? Jack White or Jack Daniels?
Could you repeat the question?
Which of these 2 Jacks is cooler? Jack White or Jack Daniels?
Jack Daniels.
There you go. All right.
Right.
Hang tight, Dave.
That's
Who
playing
is
it smart.
barfly number 2,
We
Ryder?
were talking to Liz's husband, Lyle. So
Lyle.
again, happy 10th to them. Here are Lyle's answers. Okay, the new Pope is from Chicago. Name a Chicago sports team that needs his prayers.
Blackhawks.
What's a common color for a Jell-O shot?
Purple?
Name a kind of fish often used in sandwiches.
Tuna.
What's something moms want for Mother's Day that's free?
Brunch?
Brunch is not free, dude.
I'll pay for it.
Cooler Jack, White or Daniels?
Daniels.
Got the one for pride.
Yeah, 1 out of 5, Dave. I'm sorry, that's not enough for the tickets. That's not a double, that's a nothing. But thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it. Man, all right,
that's
all right,
tough.
1 for
That
2.
was tough. That was
I'll
tough.
take it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I'm stoked for Deb, and we can maybe do this a little bit later in the morning too.
That sounds good to me.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Gorman in the morning on Minnesota's 92 KQRS. Beastie Boys.
That's right.
All right, you gotta.
All right, enough fun and games.
That's it. You gotta fight for your right to party. Sometimes you gotta fight for a parking space too.
Oh, dude.
Come on now. Let's discuss the protocols and the egregious violations of those parking protocols.
Okay.
I would love to say I never get hot under the collar. Road rage to me is almost always exclusively in parking lots.
Yeah.
Highway.
Really?
By the way, yesterday, leaving the Twins game, I'm glad I just remembered this. Rosemary and I drove down. We left the ramp and I wasn't paying attention and I ended up just being shuffled out onto 394. Just not the direction I wanted to go, but it's okay, whatever. But in a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And it's that place where the lanes are merging into one. I'm behind a guy in a big pickup truck, and something about, I guess he just didn't like the cut of my jib. We're doing the zipper merge.
Yes.
I give him plenty of space, and all of a sudden he slams on his brakes and throws the bird back at me as if I'm somehow crowding him. I'm like, again, dude, do you have any idea how big your car is? Because I've given you plenty of space, and we're going 4 miles an hour. It's okay that I'm tailgating you because that's what we do in a zipper merge at 4 miles an hour.
Right.
And he was hot, boy. And I, of course, respond by going, and Rosemary's like, just let it go, let it go, let it go. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then once we get on the highway, and we're in the left lane, and then I'm going to take that first exit to turn around.
Sure.
I get over, he immediately cuts me off. I get over again to the right lane. He's staying in front of me regardless. It's a thing with this guy now. It's a real thing. And I'm laughing, and I'm like, oh, for the love of God. And so then I get over to the middle lane. He gets over in front of me again. No. And then at the last possible second, then I get over to the right and take my exit. And then he's continuing down 394. And I say, I won. And then, of course, he's like, okay, I won. And I'm like, and of course, here I get sucked into doing something with this idiot who, again, has no idea what's really happening.
He's going to keep on driving. He's got nothing else to win the rest of the way. He's just going to be an unhappy jackwagon the rest of his drive.
Oh, man.
I know.
That's how it goes.
You know what, though? I really struggle. Like, I'm a pretty mild-mannered, chill, like, kind of take life as it comes kind of a guy.
Sure you are.
When it comes to driving, when it comes to parking, stuff like that, it boils my blood instantly almost, because most of the stuff that drives me nuts is a conscious effort by the other person.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or just a complete lack of self-awareness for other people on the road. That drives me nuts. Because, and I guess with anything in life, but primarily behind the wheel of a car.
I'm a stickler for there's a reason. Like, parking spaces have lines, and you put your car in between two of them. It's
but sometimes
real
they're
simple.
Covered in snow, and you just got to take an educated guess.
That's true, and I give you a wide berth if there's a snow thing here. But generally speaking, when I'm in a parking lot and I see somebody straddling a line completely, even if it's on there, if it's just right at the line, I'm like, come on, dude. But when you're completely just over the line, like your entire set of tires is across the line. That just it galls me. I've left notes. I will go back to my car and I will grab a pen and piece of paper. My all-time favorite, and Rosemary was like, just wanted to choke me out because she's like, just get over it. And I'm like, no. You're like you get angry about things. This is mine. This is my little part of the world where I will allow some stranger I'll never meet to ruin my day. I was at a Home Depot parking lot, and this was early days. It was so classic. It was a Prius, and every sticker on it was coexist, love your neighbor, love it, golden
most
rule,
predictable Prius ever,
and just all of the stickers you might associate. Free Tibet was the one that I thought was great, and they're dead in the middle of two lanes. I mean, in the parking lot that straddled a line as if they thought that's how you're supposed to park.
So nobody scratches their friggin' Prius.
And the note I wrote and left on the windshield, I wrote, the effing Dalai Lama himself could have parked this car better.
That's not bad.
I know that driver still remembers that note, so. Therefore, it was pretty good.
I'm glad Rosemary didn't like that one.
She was just like when she saw what I wrote, she was like, "Okay, that's pretty good.
Yes,
that's pretty good."
First thought that came to my mind was like, take from the coexist sticker and be like, coexist with us.
Yeah.
And park your car correctly. But your line, 3,000 times better. But to your point though, between the lines, when you can tell when a car is just thrown in wherever, you can tell they just turned into the parking spot, and no matter how the car finished, that's where they leave it.
Yep.
Like that's what really gets me going off of what you're talking about. When they can't take 4 seconds to back up and reposition it perfectly.
You got to wonder what the priorities. The priorities are all askew. It's just that simple.
Just so angry.
The worst is when they do the 4 corners because they don't want anybody to ding up their truck or what have you.
Sure.
Give me a break.
Like, that's just belligerent.
The stealing of a space. If you're waiting for a space, you see someone's about to back out, you're waiting, and then somebody jumps in there and grabs it before you can. My thing is, and this used to annoy me, but Rosemary would always say, just put your turn signal on. And I would say, I don't need to do that. It's a parking lot, and I'm clearly waiting for the space. And she'd say, but if you put your turn signal on, then no one's going to mess with you. And I had to begrudgingly admit that's right, because same thing. I was waiting on a space, and somebody just swooped in and took it, and I was like, holy crap. And then the guy got out, and he was bigger than me, so I didn't press the issue.
Bigger than you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
A giant.
Much
nice
so.
restraint.
651-989-ROCK. What is it that just grinds your gears in parking lots here? We'd be very happy to hear about it. Howie from Prior Lake is on the horn. 651-989-ROCK. Howie, what have you got for us?
Paulie there.
It's Paulie.
Paulie, my bad, brother. What's happening?
Well, you were talking about parking I was at Costco a couple years, maybe last year, waiting for the spot, as you have to do at Costco down in Burnsville, and I'm waiting 3-4 minutes, the place is packed, and the person finishes, puts their card away, gets in, drives away. From the other lane, a guy does a Minnesota Pull Thru right into my spot.
Oh, no way.
All right? And I'm looking at him, and I start honking. And he looks at me, and I gesture, hey, I'm waiting for that spot.
Yeah.
And he sits there, and I honk again. I go, I'm waiting for that spot. So then he does the right thing. He starts to pull out to let me have my spot. But as he does that, he flips me the finger.
Yeah. Well, wow. he's got to get a little something back from the exchange, I guess he feels like. But
I just started laughing. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Why are you flipping me off?
Yeah.
Got the spot.
So
that's how that goes. Thank you, brother, for the call. The Costco St. Louis Park, that parking lot is a challenge on a good day. I feel like I've won the day every time I leave there, and I haven't hit a pedestrian. So that's a good. That's the bar's pretty low at that one.
That one is.
I don't know who designed that lot, but man, they left a lot on the table there.
I don't like going into that lot at all.
It's tough.
Yeah, it's brutal.
It's a tough one. I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm feeling Minnesota, if I don't mind saying so myself. Paul Fletcher, what's happening out there?
And you don't mind saying so yourself.
I don't, not at all.
The Minnesota Office of Cannabis Management is excited to announce the date for the first lottery to decide who will get cannabis business licenses from the state.
Nice.
The lottery is set for June 5th for cannabis cultivators.
Cannabis cultivators.
You got it. Thank you. Manufacturers and mezzo businesses, which are essentially all-in-one operations that can grow and buy cannabis and make and sell products. The Office of Cannabis Management said the June 5th licensed lottery will be live streamed and available for the public to watch.
Okay. Fair enough.
You are on the clock. I love that.
I like it. I like it.
The U.S. and U.K. announced a framework for a trade deal yesterday, the largest step forward toward a potential trade agreement since President Trump imposed sweeping tariffs on U.S. trading partners. The deal, pending finalization, focuses on tariff relief for autos, steel, and selected industrial goods. The U.S. is the U.K.'s largest trading partner, accounting for over 17% of annual U.K. trade. So I'm guessing they're happy to get this done. And the two nations, their trade values roughly $417 billion with a B.
Oi!
That's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot.
All right, it's just so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't
sure.
even fathom.
As many grains of sand as there are on a beach.
And times a billion. Yeah. Alice in Chains were forced to cancel their show last night at Mohegan Sun Arena in Connecticut. An announcement from the band said, after our sound check this evening, Sean experienced a non-life-threatening medical emergency. Sean, of course, is Sean Kinney, their drummer. We unfortunately have to cancel tonight's show. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. Refunds are available at the point of purchase. The biggest bummer, again, is the timing. Obviously, him not doing well is a bummer, but also just the fact the fans were arriving at the arena when this went out just kind of sucks. Really, the whole thing sucks. Wishing him the best. Hopefully, it's a speedy recovery from whatever is going on.
Fine drummer.
Absolutely.
Don't know the man, but boy, I like his work.
Yeah. Bill Gates recently confirmed his plans to give away nearly all of his wealth by 2045. Directing about $200 billion. There's another one of those massive numbers. Wow. Directing about $200 billion through the Gates Foundation to fight global health issues and poverty. He stressed the importance of government support alongside philanthropy and criticized U.S. aid cuts for undermining global health progress. Despite some criticism of the foundation's influence, Gates remains focused on using his fortune to drive positive change and encourages other billionaires to follow suit.
Go figure.
I can agree with that.
Positive change in my bank account. I'll take it.
Man, come on, Bill.
The last thing I've got, this is just for fun. There's a bull. We've got video of a bull in India that took a scooter for a joyride just around the streets of India. And there's nothing more to it. There's no audio, but it is on our Instagram at 92KQRS, and I think it might just make your Friday.
So when you say bull, that's not a
like
euphemism.
A cow.
You mean an
actual cow takes a bull cow takes a scooter for a joyride, and it's kind of hilarious. And there's
always the joke, or you always hear that in India they hold cows to be sacred animals. That's where the term. And I guess they're just taking it to the next level. They're like, yeah, you know how sacred I am? I'm going to ride a scooter. That's impressive.
You give a bull the rein to just wander the streets. Yeah, he might stumble upon your scooter.
And just like that, I have to now go to Instagram.
Yes,
go
you
figure.
Because it's awesome. It's awesome.
Last night at the Target Center, the Minnesota Timberwolves even their series with the Golden State Warriors. 1 game apiece now. A wire-to-wire victory, they call it. The Timberwolves came out strong, 13-0 to start the game, which I certainly appreciate. Remove the drama. Thank you very much for that. Anthony Edwards with a badly sprained ankle, the kind of injury that would put me down for months on end. It put him down for minutes on end. Sure. A couple of grueling highlights. If you don't like to look at people get hurt, don't search these out.
Okay.
All I know is his ankle moves in ways that ankles aren't supposed to move. But he bounced back. Naz Reid talking about Anthony Edwards and will he be okay to play later in the series. Naz Reid said, "I've seen this movie 80 times. He'll be fine."
I love that.
Yeah, that is pretty great. Julius Randle had a hell of a game after being called out by Coach Finch for lack of effort in the first game. It's the one issue I have with this team, which and I'm bullish on the Timberwolves generally, but they are showing themselves to still be a young team. In this very way, they play up or down to the competition. You can tell when they're playing a team that they understand is really, really hard-nosed and tough, they give it all they have. When they think they can coast, unfortunately, they do. 2-3 years from now, when Ant's 25, 26, this won't still be happening. He will learn, and it takes a while, that every game is do or die, especially in the playoffs. You have to come with that killer's intent at all times.
Yeah.
It's coming. It's coming. I do not believe that this is a sign of the future forever. This team is getting better year in and year out. The Twins getting better in and out of every day now. 5 straight wins. Go figure.
Nice.
A team that is really rapidly approaching 500 baseball on the season.
Watch out.
Oh boy, a win over the Orioles yesterday, 5-2. It's just good to see, and I did actually see it. I went to the game.
Yeah, you did.
I'm a sucker for a 12-10 first pitch, as I've been saying all week long. Lionel Messi, the Argentinian superstar, arguably the greatest soccer player of all time, inarguably one of the 4 or 5 greatest players of all time, will be with his team from Miami over in St. Paul tomorrow night playing the Loons. If you already have a ticket, congratulations. Why aren't you selling it for way more than it's worth?
Because they want to see Lionel Messi.
I guess that's exactly why.
And Allianz Field is gorgeous.
Yes, it is.
And Soul Asylum doing a free show before that. Did
that's
you guys
right.
See that Turner's out there?
I did.
Yeah.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Wow, what a package.
Pretty great. This is a guy who, if you don't care about soccer, the selling point is simply, but he's the best on the planet. And I will watch the best. I would happily go see someone who's like, have you seen this guy's pottery? He's the greatest on earth. I'd be like, well, I want to take a look at that. Yeah. I like watching the best ever, the best on earth do anything. So, I would certainly think it's worth your while to tune into the game, if you can't see it in person.
Absolutely.
Always cool to see somebody like that show up in town. And there are your sports headlines for the day. How about Big Lake? Can we just take a moment and say what's up, Big Lake?
Hi, Big Lake. How are you today?
Come on, Big
So
Lake.
appropriately named.
It is.
You wouldn't want to hear Medium Lake.
No, you really don't.
Let's
Little Lake, if it was Lil Lake, Little Lake. Oh, he's over there in Little Lake? That's kind of sweet. But Big Lake is pretty strong, to be sure. It's another, it's Friday, and we've yet to have, we haven't had a bargument today. I think it's probably high time we whip one up. I got a good bargument for you. I want you to think about this one. Would you rather run a marathon or would you rather fast for 3 days?
Oh, my God.
Put some thought behind that one, would you?
Dude.
Gorman in the morning. Coming right back. 92 KQRS. Streaming from 92KQRS.com. Gorman in the morning is back. 92 KQRS.
Good old-fashioned bargument. The question of the day. 651-989-ROCK if you want to chime in with a text. Would you rather run a marathon or fast for 3 days? And by fasting, I mean nothing but a sip of water every now and again.
Oh, I get water.
We're not gonna deprive you of water. We'll give you a few ounces a day, just to keep you going.
A few ounces?
Well, here and there.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and answer this one easily. Fast, no question. It's not even a consideration that I would or could run a marathon. Going without food for 3 days, sign me up. I could use it. I could use it anyway. I did a few weeks many years ago on just green juice. I had a gallbladder thing.
Okay.
Had to clear out some sludge, and a nutritionist recommended just no fruit at all, just vegetable juice, just spinaches and celeries, and blah blah blah. And you get a few days in, you get over. The hunger pangs go away when you starve yourself after a while. At least that was the situation with me. My point is this: I ain't doing 26 miles. I'm sorry, that ain't gonna happen.
Our friend Rick from Monticello called in, and he actually runs marathons. Steve, you and I have met him up in Brainerd.
Yeah.
And he said definitely going with the fasting because of all the training that goes into running a marathon. Man, I hate being hangry, though. I think I'm going to take the 26 miles.
Well, maybe you don't have to run it. Maybe just complete it. I'll give you. You can walk, run, whatever, but it's going to take you the better part of a day if you're not running.
And I can eat a slice of pizza while doing it. Or several.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about all the protein shakes you could throw down while doing that.
Well, now if we're just walking, you're changing the whole thing.
That's true. Jake texted in, it would probably take me 3 days to run 26 miles, so it's pretty much a wash.
That's a good take, Jake.
That's fair.
Really good take.
Yeah, I could totally see that one. Chris from Bloomington just texted, I finished 3 marathons. I would most definitely do another one rather than fast for 3 days. Yeah, wow.
See, I'm taking Chris's advice.
All right.
And I'm going to side with Steve. I have a rule. I have very few rules. One of my rules in life is I don't run unless I'm chased.
Wow, a good rule.
There's just no reason to run unless I'm chased. And the 3 days does sound daunting, and I don't like it. But of the 2 terrible options, I'll take that.
Okay, how about this? 3 days, no technology. No TVs, no streaming, no music.
Over what?
Over running a marathon.
Oh, that's easy.
Fasting in a cabin without electricity.
I'll do the digital fast. Yeah.
Yeah, the digital fast.
That's an easy.
Oh, no. I mean, in addition to the food fast. I'm saying like if you're not going to eat food, if you're not going to eat anything for 3 days, but you also can't lose yourself in, say, Netflix's Virgin River series.
Again, give me the 26.2 miles.
Okay.
I might lean towards because I can walk it now. You're talking about just being lazy and just waltzing it. I mean, if it takes me a week, so be it.
Fair enough.
I mean,
good to know.
Got to give me something to do during that time.
You could go fishing during that time. The fishing opener is upon us. We were scheduled to speak with Jeremiah Johnson, a fishing guide.
We might get him, fingers crossed.
We might still get him. He may have entered a no-service zone or something. We were just in touch, and now we're seemingly having some difficulty. I went out with him last year down at Lake City, and we spent a day on the boat. And I'll put words in his mouth. He said I was a natural. You know what I mean? Like a generational talent. I'd missed my calling.
That seems like a lie.
I did catch some serious fish.
Did you really? What'd you catch?
Walleye and pike and something else. I don't know. I can't remember.
There are very prominent pictures of you holding what look like ginormous fish.
Yeah, my main thing was like, how do I make this look as big as all those guys do in their fishing pictures? But we had a great day, and he was an awesome dude. I'm sorry we aren't able to track him down right now. But I was curious, and I'm just going to ask both you guys. You may know more than me, or I'm sure you do. But, so the fishing, the opener this weekend, the lakes are just going to be full of folks.
Right.
But it's going to be in the as high as the 90s.
Sunday.
On Sunday.
Yeah.
80s
Gross.
tomorrow, 90s on Sunday. That's early for those kind of temps, the month of May around here. I wonder if that's going to impact. I mean, do the fish be like, no, man, I'm staying down low. You can't get me. It's too hot.
Yeah, bruh. I'm down here in the shadows.
Where's my cold water I like so much?
I'm guessing that means you got to get up real early before it gets real heated out there.
I grew up around people that fished nonstop, and I just never got into it myself. It was just one of those things. I've gone sporadically in life, and I will say, in all sincerity, it's the thing that every time I do it, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. Why don't I do that again?
Really?
And then I just don't seem to do it. And now Jeremiah Johnson is on the horn, phoning in. Jeremiah, good morning, brother.
Hey, good morning, my man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great. I'm so glad to get you on the horn right now. I already said a year ago when we went out and spent the day together, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you did recognize me as a once-in-a-generation type of talent with the rod and reel, right?
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You were kind of like one of those guys I was super impressed with and wasn't expecting it, man.
Wow. See, there you have it. In your face, Fletcher.
Yeah.
So full of it.
Hey, let me ask you this. Just a couple of questions from laymen like ourselves. The weather in the 80s tomorrow, 90s on Sunday, how does that impact the fish early in the season when it's so hot, or does it at all?
There's a lot of different variables, right? But right now, if you're targeting the walleye, which, Minnesota Governor's opener, most guys are out there chasing the walleye, right? So they're pretty much done spawning right now. They're sight feeders, obviously. So, when the sun's out and stuff like this, early in the season, water temperatures ain't too hot, so they still feed pretty heavy throughout the day. Now, if you're targeting like bass or smallmouth bass, catch and release, they absolutely love this weather. So, weather-wise, I think it's going to be great.
We were just talking, someone here at the station is going out to a lake. They go where there's no motorized boats, paddling only. What kind of, does that make for happier fish? What is the thinking there? Do you have a better day if you're in a canoe kicking it old school?
Any way you can get out, man, we love to see it, in the state of Minnesota. That's kind of what we're all about here. And, no, you can still have a lot of success, without having a big fancy boat. If you get your kayaks and stuff out there, you can get in some of the lakes that, us guys can't. So, kind of a little jealous, but no, you could still catch them. One thing I recommend is just, if it's a clear body water, try to make long casts, Those fish are pretty weary. You got to think, there's been a lid of ice on them for 6 months, so they're super skittish, spooky. So if you can make a long cast to them, you're definitely going to up your odds for sure.
Fishing guy Jeremiah Johnson's with us on Gorman in the Morning. If someone's going out, like you're just getting started with the kids, what are some reminders? What do you absolutely have to have, for the newbies out there?
Yeah, are you talking like bait-wise, equipment-wise?
Yeah, most important things, bait and equipment.
Yeah, if you're going out there with the kids, you better have some crawlers, some leeches. Definitely better have your life preservers,
Yeah.
We don't want to have any accidents.
No,
of course not.
That's not ideal.
Yeah, right. So, no, just make sure you go and to, your local bait shop and get yourself some bait. Right now, crappie. Everything's shallow, too, so you can go catch some crappies, walleyes, bass. You guys can just have a great time, but make sure you got your live bait and definitely bring snacks. Kids are on the boat.
There you go.
Oh,
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Jeremiah, how old were you when it dawned on you, like, hey, I'm not only am I really digging this, I'm pretty darn good at it?
Man, my dad got me out, at an early age, and just something I was super, super passionate about. And I'd say, probably in my 20s is when I really wanted to start to do it for a living. And, just got super, super good at it and was able to make it a career. So
nice.
Definitely a dream job for sure. And, I won't want it any other way.
That's the way to do it. Hey, Jeremiah, this is Paul Fletcher. I'm the new guy around here. I've got a quick question. I've got my whole dad's side of the family is from Roseau, Minnesota, so they're all about Lake of the Woods. And it's all I've heard is that this is like it's like a lake on steroids for walleye. Do you think have you been there? And if so, do you think it's worth the drive?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a ton of walleye in Lake of the Woods. Right now, obviously, I'm located in central Minnesota, so water temps up there are quite a bit colder than what they are here. But yeah, it's like one of the walleye apples of the world. It's not only is it gorgeous. If you just want to go there and, they got great lodges, great restaurants, but a lot of great fishing.
Nice.
Jeremiah, I'm going to give you one day. I'm saying you're going out for walleye. You got one spot in the whole state to pick, the sweetest spot you can imagine. If you only got one, where are you going?
You're talking like lake or area?
Lake.
I love Mille Lacs Lake, but we all know regulations-wise, it's been kind of all over the place, right? I absolutely love Lake Mille Lacs, but I'd have to say Leech Lake.
Leech Lake, there it is. Jeremiah, how can somebody track you down? What's your business and what's the website, et cetera, et cetera?
If you just go to Jeremiah Johnson Fishing, you guys can go on there and, reach me on my cell or email or book a trip on there.
Right on. And I can't recommend it highly enough. Seriously, a year ago, I was hardly a generational talent, but, man, you made it a blast. It was a lot of fun. And we appreciate you checking in with us today, man. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, man, and, all the listeners out there, good luck, and hope you guys catch a big one.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Thanks so much, Jeremiah. We have just enough time to get in the last word. I'll simply say Happy Mother's Day to all.
Yes, good call.
And I'm going to include anyone for whom, for any reason, Mother's Day sometimes can be a pretty difficult day. So, our hearts are with you. Whatever your day is, I hope it's a good one. What do you got coming up, Fletcher?
Very well said. I've got Heart Tickets again, 12:30, and just after 10, a song that was the first video played played on MTV too.
Very, very nice. All right, that's what we're staying around for.
Gorman in the Morning is also Gorman on the go. Get the 92 KQRS app and stream live or catch the Gorman in the Morning podcast anytime. 92 KQRS.